Now it's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Breakfast with Spaniels with Dr. Judy.
Oopsie. Kim Van Royen first today. Beth, you're second. It's a gorgeous day. The humidity's down. The sun is out. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Not bad for Monday. Hot Texas? Well, yeah, I keep seeing temperatures out in Arizona, I think, are going to be like 120 this week. How do people live there?
Remember, you can purchase all of Dr. Morgan's products at her website at www.drjudymorgan.com. Now it's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Good morning, everyone. So I want to thank my good friend Bonnie Hirschman for, and I think I saw that she's on, for this morning's topic because she texted me Friday, I think, and said, can I have a phone call with you this weekend? She's a good friend of ours from New Jersey, and she used to help us a lot. She's a retired school teacher, as is my mother, so they always had a great time talking to each other. But she used to help us pack up our products to send into Amazon. So anyway, she texted me and said, can I talk to you this weekend? I had labs done on my little spaniel, Coco, and there's some things that are not in the normal range, and I'm really concerned about them. And they explained them to me at the office, but, you know, kind of in a hurry on the phone. It's just like, whoosh, and then afterwards you kind of go, what was that? So she did what I recommend, which is she asked for a copy of the lab results, and then she took those and highlighted the things that were abnormal, sent me pictures of them, and we had a great conversation. So a couple things that really stood out. The triglycerides for Coco were very, very high, and triglycerides are not on every blood panel. You pretty much have to get the super panel or the expanded panel to even see triglycerides on there, and a lot of times they're just doing like a quick liver panel or a quick kidney panel, and triglycerides are something that's not in those shorter panels, and they were really high. It was like 775 or something, and normal is less than like 300 for this particular lab. And that can be quite common in certain breeds, Schnauzers, Cocker Spaniels, maybe Keeshonds, dogs whose gallbladder tends to have a little more sludge, a little more inflammation. There are certain breeds, and there are certain breeds where we see gallbladder removal more commonly because they kind of get sludge and they get things stuck in the gallbladder. So what the gallbladder does is it makes bile and bile acids, and those are used to break down fats along with enzymes from the pancreas. So the triglycerides were really high. So the first question was, is Coco on a high-fat diet? And she really is not. Most of her diet is lean pork or lean turkey, so really not a high-fat diet. For instance, our dogs, if I feed them beef-based meals, I'll provide beef, Answer's beef, any of the beef meals, they're higher in fat. Beef just generally tends to be higher in fat, unless you're using grass-fed, very, very lean beef. So whenever I would run lab work on them after a heavy beef meal, remember, beef is heavier, it sits there, it's more stagnating. I would get higher triglyceride levels on them. So one of the things that you want to do, border terriers get gallbladder mucocele, there you go. So one of the things that you want to do if you know that your pet is scheduled to get lab work, do it fasting. Don't give them breakfast. Try to get a morning appointment, skip breakfast, feed them after you get them home. So that we know that we're comparing apples to apples. When you know that you're going in for routine lab work, ask for a morning appointment. Take them fasted so that whatever they had for breakfast isn't influencing those lab results. So that's the first thing. Take them fasted. We want to check urine samples. I know that a lot of you, and I saw it in my practice too, a lot of you have never been asked for a urine sample by your veterinarian. You really want to get urine samples checked. There's so much information in that urine sample. So take a urine sample. Try to take one from first morning urine catch if at all possible. So if you have a morning appointment, that's perfect. When you take your dog out first thing in the morning, that's the time to catch that pee. It'll be nice and fresh. It'll be a great sample, and take that with you. So let's see, what else was off on Coco? Oh, her platelet level was really high. Well, platelets are sort of non-specific, and her platelets were 660, something like that, 660,000. That's high. That just indicates there's some inflammation going on. So the other interesting thing with Coco is that she had a positive test for chronic Lyme exposure. Now, Bonnie has never pulled a tick off of her. She has no idea where that came from, but that means that there was probably an undetected tick. So Coco is absolutely asymptomatic. However, she does have these high platelets right now. So I said, well, there's some inflammation somewhere. Could it be that she does actually have some active Lyme that her body is fighting right now? So we've got to do further testing to find out if that is something that is real, or if it's just something that we have to monitor. So there's two things she can do. She can take her in for what's called a quant C6, a quantitative C6, which is only run by IDEXX labs. And that will give her a number that will tell her whether that Lyme disease is active and needs to be treated. The other thing she can do, since the clinic that she goes to doesn't use IDEXX routinely, so that test becomes very expensive if that's not your routine lab, is you can just check a urine. Now, she's trying to get a urine anyway, but check a urine. If the dog is shedding protein in the urine, then that's an indication that perhaps we've got inflammation in the kidneys from that Lyme disease. And then maybe it needs to be treated. So she's been working on trying to get that sample. Coco is a little difficult because she's a tiny dog and squats really low to the ground. So it's a little difficult to get that urine. Talk about platelet issues in Cavaliers. So platelet issues in Cavaliers are different. They have giant platelets. It's a genetic thing. They have giant platelets. And they have them in fewer numbers. So it's sort of like when the bone marrow makes the platelets, it makes these giant ones, and one giant one equals 10 little ones. So a normal platelet count is going to be 250,000 to 300,000, 350,000. When it start going over 400, then we kind of go, ooh, that's getting up there. But Cavaliers very commonly will have a platelet count of 45,000 to 100,000. What you need to look for is, are they giant platelets? Does it say that it's macro thrombocytopenia, which means big platelets in small numbers? Just break the word down. That's normal for a lot of these guys, and that's not a bleeding problem. What test is better for Lyme than the normal? There's so many Lyme tests. There's the 4DX, which is the little snap test in the office. I don't think that one is very accurate. There's the Accuplex, which is run by Antec Lab, and then there's the I don't know what their screening Lyme is at IDEXX, but then they do the Quant C6, which is a follow-up. So what protein should you avoid if your dog has a heart murmur? There's no particular proteins that you should avoid for a heart murmur. There are proteins that can be better, and that's what the diets in this book, that book, address for heart disease. Okay, I need to get going out to the farm. Hugh already left to go. Busy day. Is the PCR test the same as a Quant 6? No. And there are PCR tests for the other tick-borne diseases, Lorraine, but when I left, there was not a PCR for the Lyme. There was a PCR for the anaplasma, ehrlichiosis, babesiosis, those sorts of things. Okay, everybody have a wonderful day. Let's see if I can get some music, maybe. All right. It's going to be a good day. I got music. Jane has 3+ protein. Well, Lorraine, out where you live, I know that the ticks are a bigger problem, and so for your guys, that could be a bigger issue. What would cause small oxalate crystals in the urine? A low urine pH. And breed. Small breeds are more prone to them. Oh, Teresa, you're up in Jersey. How's your mom and dad? Oh yeah, Nanny's doing great. She has a doctor's appointment today for follow-up. She's doing great. Alright, have a wonderful day, everybody.